Hey Gemini, welcome back. I hope you guys are doing well. This is going to be a general reading for the first 2 weeks of June for Gemini, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. Guys, remember, general messages, take what resonates, throw out the rest. Definitely check your other signs, okay? Especially during this time. We are going into eclipse season. Crowning energy, lunar eclipse, change. Yep. No surprise there. No surprise there. We are going to be doing some astrology, guys, okay? So I'm going to timestamp. So if you are not interested in hearing about the eclipses and where it's going to be hitting you and your chart, just check down in the description real quick, and I'm timestamping when the actual reading begins, okay? Because I know, oops, starting out with the Tower, hello. Because I do know a lot of people love the addition of astrology, and a lot of people are like, you know, just shut up and get to the reading. So, but enough people like it where I am adding it in, but I'll just add the timestamp. Okay, let me just pull these cards, and I'm going to talk about this crazy eclipse energy that we're dealing with. The eclipses actually hit on July 2nd. But we're feeling it now because there's always a 6-week shadow before. So I want to try to break it down pretty simply for you guys so you could just understand on a practical level how it may be impacting you. So first of all, when it comes to eclipses, we need to think about them more as of a story, okay, than anything else. That takes about 2 years to unfold. And there are 2 types of eclipses, okay? So the first is a solar eclipse occurs during the new moon phase when the sun and the moon are positioned at the exact same degree within the same sign. And what's important to know here is that the moon passes between the sun and the earth, temporarily obscuring the sun. So there's this shadowy element, okay? And then next we have the lunar eclipse, which corresponds to the full moon phase. And during this time, the moon emanates the earth's shadow. So again, the shadow element. So eclipses happen between 3 and 7 times a year, and they usually happen in clusters. And I know that's a weird span, but it depends on the chunk of years that we're talking about. But what's important for us to know is that the eclipse story that we're in right now initially started on July 13th of 2018, and it's going to continue through 2020. And it's lighting up the Cancer and Capricorn axis. So this eclipse continues this summer. Like I mentioned before, July 2nd, it's hitting in Cancer, a partial lunar eclipse in Capricorn that is going to be hitting on July 16th into 17th. So we have a lot of movement going on. And then the final eclipse of this story is going to hit on July 5th into 6th of 2020 next year, when a total lunar eclipse at 13 degrees Capricorn is going to conclude this 2-year cycle. So what does that all mean? Astrologically speaking, eclipses speed up time, right? They open up new doors by slamming others shut. So very abrupt, sudden shifts during this time, okay? Can be very jarring, can be very uncomfortable, because you have to know whatever's happening now, the eclipse speed, they just speed up the inevitable, okay? So if you've been dragging your feet, if you've been in a situation where you know it needs to end and you're not making the changes, the eclipse is going to come in and give you the shove that you need to make the changes and take the action, okay? And just, again, this is all stuff that's inevitable, okay? And it's this swapping out of energy. So things are going to be taken away, but other things are going to be coming in its place. So you really do need to understand that if you're hurting because of anything that's leaving, understand that everything is cyclical and it's just going to come back to you in a different form, you know, because the culmination, there's always a culmination on the edge of a beginning, right? Always. So there's always this swapping out. So I really want you guys to pay attention to what's going on in your life at this point, and just understand and anticipate that you guys are going to be having some major pivots in your life over the next 2 years. So probably, you know, in what way? So as a way to kind of cue in to the energy that you're going to be dealing with, I want you guys, those of you who are old enough to remember, think back to 2000 into 2002, and then think about 2009 to 2011, if you can. If you can remember what was going on in your life, okay? Because whatever was happening then is going to echo in your life now, but under a different guise. So I'm going to give you a quick example about my life. This is not about me, but I do find that when we're talking about things like this, illustrations are helpful. So, and also to remember in this energy is sometimes you're given the gift before the something is eclipsed out. So something can eclipse in and then eclipse out later on. Okay. So in 2000, my twin boys were born. And this was a huge gift to me. I was told that I could not have children. So I ended up crossing paths. It was very serendipitous with a doctor who was able to help me. And I was able to do IVF. And IVF was not nearly as popular back then as it is now. And I was able to have my twins. And they were born in 2000. 18 months later, my mother passed away. That was a huge blow to me. So during the time of that narrative, I had this wonderful blessing, and then I had this incredible pain that I had to deal with. So that was then. Then fast forward 2009 into 2010, I decided to divorce my husband at the time. And following that, I ended up completely changing the trajectory of my life. I advanced my education even further than I was. I changed careers. I sold a business. There were so many changes that ended up being the product of that fallout. So while the birth of my children and the death of my mother may not seem the same as divorce and rediscovering myself and making changes in my life, because it's dealing with my heart space, those very much echoed each other. And that's what I want you guys to think about in your own life, what was going on. So the cardinal signs of Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn are going to be hit most significantly. And guys, we have all of these in our chart, right? Even though you guys are Gemini, we have them all in our chart. Now for me, why these are always very profound, because I have a lot of Cancer in my chart. Even though I am a Gemini, I am a Gemini sun. I'm right there with you guys, but I have a lot of Cancer in my chart. So, but the bottom line is these eclipses hit us all. Some signs a little more than others, but it's important to understand where they're going to be hitting us. And in really understanding wholly so how this is going to hit you, you really need to understand your placement within your sign. So a lot of people don't talk about this, but we have early degree, middle degree, and late degree placements. And it's important to understand where you're at. So for those Geminis, those of you out there who are May born in May, between 0 and 9 degrees, you guys are considered early degree placements. For those of you from June 1st to June 10th, you middle degree from 10 to 19 degrees. And then June 11th and on through the rest of the sign, that's 20 to 29 degrees, you guys are considered late placements. So we're going to have this Cancer solar eclipse at 10 degrees, and then we're going to have a 24 degree Capricorn lunar eclipse. Okay, so how is that going to affect each of you? So for the early degrees, you guys are going to primarily be experiencing this in your second house of money and your 8th house of rebirth and resources. Okay, this is going to hit primarily the early degrees in those two houses. Middle degrees has these as well, the 2 and the 8th. But also a 1st house influence of self and the 7th house influence of relationships. So this is where things are going to be changing in a big way in all of those houses, okay? Now the late degree, you guys are going to be feeling it the most, okay? You're going to be dealing with it equally in the 1st house, 7th, 2nd, and 8th. Okay, very much a me-we polarity is being aspected for all Gemini placements, all of you, but especially the later degree, okay? And what I mean by me-we, the 1st and 2nd house is about you and your stuff, and the 7th and 8th houses are about others and their stuff, okay? So that's kind of like a light introduction, and I'm going to be dealing with this a little more deeply, I guess, when I do the reading for the last 2 weeks in May, and I'll do it in a similar format. I'll front load it, I'll timestamp. So if you guys aren't interested in understanding the astrological influences of what's going on, that's totally cool. I'll just timestamp it. You just fast forward. But I do know a lot of people are interested. All right, so let's get into your crowning energy, which cracked me up, right? Lunar eclipse. Lunar eclipse is your crowning energy. How's that? And I like this card 43, 4 plus 3 is 7, which is the number of manifestation. That's beautiful. Like it. you know, look, so we just discussed what lunar eclipses are, right? When the earth blocks out the sun, you know, causing the earth's shadow. Okay, we already talked about that. But eclipses bring on times which seem shadowy, okay? And you guys know what I mean by that. It's like this sense of disorder, okay? But they're not necessarily bad. This is not necessarily a bad thing. And it should not be viewed as bad at all. Because we're meant to be thrown off balance, guys, right? We're meant to be thrown off balance sometimes to make necessary changes. Because if we're too comfortable, we're never going to change, right? It's just the human condition. So this is a time of seeing the light and focusing on something that you have either put off or didn't exactly notice was coming up. Okay, this is all about dramatic changes and changes that will likely be unexpected ones. And the kind that might seem hard in the moment. Definitely. It'll certainly take some special effort on your part to make it through. This is not going to be a kind of like gradual, easy, barely noticeable kind of transformation. It's not going to be like that. Your world is going to be rattled at this time. And it's going to seem more like a personal revolution, which I actually think is really positive. None of this is meant to frighten you or make you entirely nervous. Just understand that what's on the other side of this is so great, you know? Because and don't be afraid, because this is altering your life in a way that's essential to get you to where you need to be and where you're meant to be. You know, we're all here to share our gifts and lead others to theirs, right? But it's not always an easy path, you know? And for many of you, this can just be a new way of looking at things, you know? Yeah. And on a mundane level, and this is just going to, you know, throw it out there because it is what this energy means. Some of you, because this affects the way we see life and we see things on a mundane level. Some of you may be making changes in your glasses or your contact lens prescription, or you might be getting glasses for the first time, or many of you might see a marked improvement in your eyesight, or a dramatic, you know, downward change in something to do with your eyesight. But regardless, you're all going to be feeling very in tune with unseen energies and experience moments of just such revelations during this energy. You know, whatever the issue that's been brewing for a while, things are about to bubble over. So this could be a partner, a would-be partner, you know, maybe somebody who wishes to take a relationship to a new level. Just, you're going to be seeing things differently. Yeah, you know. But I'm getting a lot of you already sense this change. So many of you are not going to be surprised by what's changing, but you may be rattled by the force and dramatic nature of the shift, if that makes sense. So just expect to be thrown off balance a little bit, you know. For some of you, if it's a situation that maybe you took for granted and then it ends up collapsing, and you end up being in a space of needing to make a new start. But in any event, you should start to see these effects within the next 6 weeks, right? Which makes sense because of when the eclipse is hitting. But expect an outcome to be completed within the next 6 months, okay? Yeah, I mean, this is all about cycles. And whatever seems lost at this time, you can be assured is going to return to you, but just in a different form and way better. Way better. And for those of you who know the standard tarot cards, this is a Five of Cups energy. So, I mean, I really like this as a crowning energy. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right, now let's get into the regular tarot. So, representing your current space right now, we have the Tower. All right. It's okay. It's Mars energy. Warrior planet. Right? Warrior planet of energy, aggression, assertiveness, self-defense. A lot of people are very uncomfortable when they get the Tower. This card indicates quick and sudden bursts of energy and power and represents intensity and drive and desire. But this is a marker for inspiration too. And it's an impetus for change, which is happening right now. So most of the time, this will absolutely feel like a bolt from out of the blue, you know. And in tarot, the Tower usually indicates dramatic change. It can refer to breakups or breakdowns and the disintegration or collapse of something that you thought was at one time stable. So this can be a relationship, but could also be something in your home sector or in your career. But most important to understand here, though, is that it can symbolize the destruction of false ideas, outdated beliefs. It's a kind of purging, a kind of intervention from the universe. And, you know, again, while most people feel very uncomfortable when they see this in their reading, because many people focus on the negative aspects of it, but the positive components of this card, I feel during this energy, is just going to outweigh anything negative, because it represents enlightenment and inspiration and release. So for any of you who feel trapped in a situation that you inherently feel you've outgrown, this is the get out of jail free card. It is, you know. And ultimately this tower experience is one of, it protects you. It's a purification. It's like a self-preservation as an old way of doing things, an old way of being. Something that's just past its expiration date in your life is torn down so that something new can take its place. You know, like a renovation within yourself can happen, you know. And the other side of this energy is confidence and power, Gemini. So I think this is an awesome energy to get for what's going on in your space right now. And then for what's crossing you here, we have the Queen of Wands, which is an Aries influence. And the Queen of Wands personifies the steamy combination of water with fire. It's energy, it's passion, it's the heat of the wands. You know, and wands are well. This just tells me you're in a space of being very seductive and simmery in a way, you know, very surprisingly strong. This is you being a natural leader who is initiating change in your own life. Yeah. There is a tendency here in this energy to be a little impulsive and a little impatient and a little impetuous, you know. But you're very brave and bold and very courageous right now. Like very much a warrior spirit vibe here. So that's awesome. You know, taking direct and aggressive action, really asserting yourself inside of an energetic purpose, right? Yeah, I really like this. This is all about you getting in touch finally with your self-identity, like who you are and what is your self-expression all about, you know? Which this is so awesome because you guys are going to be dealing with this eclipse energy in that first house of self. So, you know, that's great. Okay, and then here in the best of what can be achieved in these circumstances, we have the Knight of Wands reversed. So this is a fire element with Scorpio and Sag association. So in general, this indicates miscommunications and delays and deferred decisions, and you're just feeling very frustrated at the lack of progress in something right now. So you have all of this will, and all of these changes are happening, but you're going to need to understand that in order to get through this space, you're going to have to be very patient. I am also getting that many of you are dealing with somebody who just can't pull themselves out of their ego. You know, someone who thrives on status, but is generally really unwilling to do the hard work to deserve it. Regardless, they're going to want to like take credit in some sort of situation for something that they really shouldn't be taking credit for. So some of you may be dealing with this at work, like a coworker. Some of you may be dealing with this in a relationship or even a family member. But there's a very insincere and attention-seeking vibe here. Somebody who's acting out of self-interest. So something to be mindful of. Just, you know, it's just something you're going to have to deal with. You know, especially if you get in the Tower, as in the Queen of Wands, as you're crossing energy, don't worry about it. This is a minor arcana, don't worry about it. But this is someone who does not like the changes that you're making in your life and in yourself because it doesn't serve them. So I am getting that energy too. So you apply that as, you know, as it would relate to you. And then in the foundational energy, we have the Page of Swords, which is an earth of air element. So this is all about your hard work paying off. You're in a space right now where your intelligence and your questioning nature, right? Gemini's, right? So questioning, we're so inquisitive. And just your ability to be clear-headed and far-sighted at the same time is really going to serve you now. You know, that Gemini versatility that allows you to go from subject to subject, moving at the speed of sound, just being very tuned in right now. Gemini, you're so tuned in right now. Beautiful, beautiful communication from many of you right now during this energy, and it's seriously going to serve you. Yeah. I mean, I'm getting, you guys are just not going to settle for anything less than the God's honest truth and justice right now. You want fair right now, because I'm getting a lot of you have been in a space of feeling like things were unfair. Okay. And then we have in the past, we have the shadow side here, which in regular tarot is equivalent to the devil, which is a Capricorn energy. And I'm getting that many of you were dealing with a very Saturnian energy where you felt like, you felt very restricted and limited in what you were able to do or have. Okay, so this could have to do with resources. Maybe you felt like you were very limited in your finances, or that you were in a situation that you weren't able to bring to fruition something that you really wanted. And it could be in a relationship or in a job, or it could be both. But I'm getting from many of you that this Capricorn energy, which is the 10th sign of the zodiac, right? Which is, what's the 10th house? It's career and social status. So, you know, both of these things are usually dealt with at a great expense. So I am getting, yeah, for many of you, it was a resource issue. You know, Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, you know, as I mentioned, and Saturn corresponds to the World card, which is entirely positive. So because Capricorn is an earth sign, and the element of earth symbolizes this idea of stability and practicality, it's tangible property and material resources. Yeah, I'm getting that this was very much an issue for you in the past. So you just didn't really feel grounded. You know, maybe some of you had to change homes. Maybe your lease expired. Maybe, you know, you lost work, or you weren't getting paid as much, or you accrued debt. Something to do with resources and whatever that would mean to you. Yeah, and then for many of you too, I'm just getting that you were very stressed out because of some sort of having to deal with addictive tendencies of your partner or yourself. So this can include, you know, substance abuse, or, you know, shopping too much, or sex, or whatever. Or it could just be very dark, low vibrational thinking. But, you know, again, because this is a general reading, you're going to have to apply that as it seems fit. But you know what? It was in the past. But now, in your near future, we have this beautiful Two of Cups energy, which is Venus in Cancer. And Venus, as most of you know, is the planet of love and romance, has made her way into the very nurturing sign of Cancer, and she's playing matchmaker here in the biggest way right now in this energy. It's a great card because Venus, you associate Venus with the earth sign of Taurus. So this is about enjoying the comfort and stability of true love and partnership, that true love and partnership can bring. See, so when she steps in as the ruler of Cancer's deacon, she's simply like lights a few candles, puts on some love songs in the background, and just walks out and lets nature take its course, right? So there's like a purity to this. And I'm not getting any other interpretation of this card, but I have to tell you, this is a minor arcana of Cancer, which corresponds to the Chariot, okay? So that's I'm getting a very positive vibe here, right? Because when we have the Chariot's ruling planet is the High Priestess. So this tells me that this couple, though they may be tested, they're going to be able to overcome obstacles and grow and mature in a way that's going to leave them much wiser in the end. Very kindred spirits, soulmates with this energy, equal partnership, beautiful. I love it, and I'm not getting any other interpretation of that, so if you don't have it now, you are going to be meeting someone who you're going to be having this experience with. Okay, and then we have in the energy that represents you, we have the Queen of Cups, which is the Cancer energy. Yeah, this just gives me the vibe of you just being just like this natural homemaker and caretaker, very nurturing and sensitive and loving and caring right now. The major arcana counterpart to this energy, you know, is just movement, right? Just movement. Just, you're navigating through, how do I say this? through trippy types of landscape right now, emotional ones, where things are going to feel, with really good things are happening, and then there are bad things happening. There's good, then there's bad. There's good, then there's bad. So there's almost like this rocky element to it, but I feel like you're balancing everything out in some way. It's a very intuitive time for you, very in touch with the moon right now. Many of you might be feeling pretty overprotective right now. I don't know, of either yourself or someone close to you, or maybe for some of you, the person that you're evolving into. I feel like a lot of you are going to feel like you need to explain yourself to people. You're going to feel like people expect that from you, and you're just not going to have it. You're not. You're in a space of redefining what your definition of home, love, and family all mean. And you're gaining this definition from the deepest recesses inside of you, based on your experience. That's what I'm getting here. Yeah. And then we have your external influence, Two of Pentacles, which is Jupiter and Capricorn. And you know, Jupiter's just going to make sure that no one gets bored in this energy. I just love this. This is just like shaking up the Saturnian structure, and just Jupiter's trying to push in this welcome diversion from rules and regulations, you know, because Jupiter's this happy-go-lucky Wheel of Fortune energy. And it's entering like this 10th house devil energy, you know, of career and social services with you guys right now, that you guys are going to be feeling in this eclipse. So it's like Jupiter is so out of place here, you know, just very out of place in this energy. In fact, Jupiter is actually in fall in Capricorn, very unwelcome guest for sure. But Jupiter has a lot of work to do, right? Going in and trying to lighten up Capricorn. And that's the energy that I'm getting here for you, right? Because Capricorn's a very serious personality. So this ends up creating the situation where you guys are going to feel the need for balance. You're going to feel the need to, you know, deal with that constant struggle between balancing time and whatever else you have to do in your life. Right? You know, work and pleasure, personal and professional obligations, this and that. And you're going to be balancing two different decisions, and what should I do? But what I'm getting though in this energy is that it's the best way for you to approach it is with a little Jupiter juice in there. Try to lighten up and relax as you're dealing with this need for balance, because that's going to help you. It's just really going to help you to just, you know, breathe deep, chill out, and just make whatever reasonable decisions you need to make in the moment. Don't overthink anything, okay? And then in your hope and fears positions, we have the Queen of Pentacles, which is a Cap energy. And this just tells me that many of you are afraid of not being able to be entirely happy in your physical world. It's like, you know, you have everything that it takes, and you know cognitively that everything is happening for you, but you have this fear, and the fear is just generated from your past. So it just is, you know, a lot of this has to do with money. It is a Pentacle energy, so a lot of you, I'm getting concerns about money or debt during this time. Many of you are going to be paying off debt at this time. Many of you are going to be concerned about either your own health or the health of someone close to you, and that could be physical or mental. Feeling very worried about someone in your life. Yeah, and this is you being in a space of completely understanding the energy, the major arcana counterpart to this, which is the devil. So you're going to be in a space of understanding the human condition and temptations of the earthly experiences, and, you know, and temptations, right? So I just feel like this is going to be a fear. For some of you are going to be worried about this. If not for yourself, somebody close to you. Maybe some of you are going to be very concerned about someone having an affair. Maybe if it's not you or your partner, maybe it's one of your children or a close friend. Just feeling very worried. I'm getting a lot of you are going to be worried about your kids or people close to you. Yeah, I am getting that. And this is kind of like this, it's an external thing, but this is like really poking in your fear sector, I am getting. And then in your final outcome, we have the Page of Pentacles, which is the personification of Earth. Very steady, dependable energy. I love this. This is great. This is auspicious beginnings, nurturing skills and abilities. Many of you are going to be getting a job offer at this time. Definitely some kind of new venture. I love it. This is great. This is stable, solid, secure energy. You're just going to have to be patient right now. You're going to have to be patient during this time, but everything's going to be very deliberate and conscientious that you're going to be, the choices that you're making in this space. I do like it. Yeah, good stuff, Gemini. Good stuff. That is what I have for you. I will see you guys for the end of June reads. You guys, thanks for joining me. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.